Jonathan Rothschild, the mayor of Tucson. Our musicians today are Joe Russos Hammond on the violin and Mike Simmons on the cello. I'm not going to do a lot of remarks. I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm going to introduce now Valerie Kittell, our librarian here at the library, and she's got some interesting information about the library. Valerie?
Hi, thank you for coming today to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Slusser Library. I feel very fortunate to be able to work in such a beautiful building. A lot of people, when they come here, remark on what a beautiful space this library is. And another thing I hear when people come through to tour is they see the name on the outside of the library building and they say, who was Peggy Slusser? They want to know why she was the person for whom this building is named. And there are many ways to answer this question. We could say, and it's true, that Blaine and Bessie Slusser, her parents, were very generous people. It's also true that Peggy was a stamp collector, so it makes sense that her name would be associated with the Philatelic Library. And it's also true that Peggy was their only child, and so they had no other children to leave their money to. But in doing the research for this event and for the exhibit in the glass case, I feel like I came to the heart of the matter, and I think the real answer is that the Slussers deeply, deeply love their daughter, Peggy. This library building, to me, then, is an example of their generosity and their love for Peggy. And I feel like the work that is done inside the library represents her character and her interests. Peggy was a very curious person. She liked to learn. She was active. I would call her probably determined as well. I look at her painting every day when I come in the building, and I often think about what a sweet picture that is of her and how it really represents her disposition, that she was a cheerful person, and she was upbeat, despite the fact that she suffered from arthritis her entire life. Peggy died suddenly and unexpectedly at age 51. Recently, I went to look at her grave at Evergreen Cemetery, and I saw that her tombstone is very personal. It's shaped like a heart, and there are also images etched into the tombstone. There's a picture of a little mouse, which I'm assuming was probably a pet. There's also a picture of a rose. And her parents are buried adjacent to her. And their tombstone, or head gravestone, is also very personalized. There are 2 wedding bands, and it says "Together Forever." And Bessie is recognized as the wife and Blaine as the husband. So it was clear to me, based on that and all the things that I've seen in our collection, that the Slussers were a very openly loving family. They moved to Tucson from Kansas in 1959 to help Peggy with her health, to a drier climate, to help her with her quality of life. So it was clear to me that so much of what they did was for her. And that didn't stop after she left them. They could no longer give to her, but they could give in her name. And their donation to us was facilitated by their friend John Birkenbein. He was instrumental in facilitating this donation, and I'd like to recognize John and his wife Senny and thank them again publicly for all the work that they did in helping us with this. So since the library's beginning, there have been 4 librarians. Carl Spitzer was the first. He was not a trained librarian, but he devoted many hours to this place as custodian of the collection. And this this reading room in the library is named in his honor for all of the hard work that he put into the library as well. The first professional librarian was Charlotte Cushman, and she wasn't able to be here today. Her successor, Lisa Hodgkins, I don't think is here yet, but she does plan on attending, so if you knew her, you And as the current librarian, I am pleased to have spoken to you today about Peggy and her parents and the early history of this library. And I hope that you will be able to take the time to come and look at the exhibit in the glass case that has items from our collection and elsewhere that talk about them and the origins of the library. So thank you again for coming.